In programming, we use operators all the time. For example, if you have an integer a, and if I say 5 plus 5, these two are operators. Don't get confused by the name operator, it's just a function. For example, if you have a function called add, and you have integer a and b, and you return some sort of a result integer, you do some sort of a calculation and then return. This is a lot easier to express than a function like this. An operator is just a shortened version of a function. What's cool about these operators in C++ is that you can overload them. And again, don't get confused by the name overload. It just means that you are able to create your own version of operators. If you're coming from Unity and C#, you might have heard of something called vectors. For example, if I have a class called vector2 or 3, let's say vector2, and if I have vector2a, and I have vector2b, and I have a vector2 result, oftentimes you're going to see something like result equals a plus b. Obviously here you're going to get an error message because adding two classes like this, a plus b, this is not defined. By the way, when I say vector, something like vector2 or vector3, in math, a vector can be a coordinate, something like 5, 2 here. It also means it's got a direction and a magnitude. The other definition of a vector, std vector, this is something that we're all used to at this point. This is just a contiguous block of memory that has a certain data type. In this video, I'm going to talk about this vector. This is something that you're going to see all the time in GameDev. In this case, this is a vector2. As you can see, there are 2D coordinates, but later in the series, you'll see that a vector is a lot more than just position data. And in real life, you're going to see a lot of people using vectors in very creative ways. But for simplicity in this video, let's just consider them as coordinates, even though there are a lot more. For a simplified example, let's just think of them as some sort of a position value. So in this example, let's say a vector2 has integer x, 0 by default, integer y. I'm going to make them public. So here, vector2a is 0, 0. And I'm going to say bx is 1, by is 1. So how do we add these two different vectors? And this is where we overload the plus sign. Inside a vector, I'm going to create a function that returns a vector2, and I'm going to use this syntax, operator plus, and I'm going to take in a vector2 as the argument, target vec. We're going to have some sort of a result, and we're going to return that result. We're going to look at our member x, and we're going to do a plus target vec x. And we're also going to do the same thing to the y, target vec y, and that's going to be our result. So result x is our member plus the target vec x. Result y is our member y plus target vec y, and we return the result. And all this means is that by using the plus sign, we're going to use a function. When we say a plus b, we're going to use this function. So I'm going to press F9 here, run the debugger. If I hover my mouse over here, you can see that the result is x1 and y1. Let's say ax is also 1, ay is 2, run it again. Okay, this time the result is 2 and 3. So you can see that we have created our own version of the plus sign to express a mathematical function. You can also do stuff like b minus a, or a minus b, or maybe if a equals b. We haven't overloaded these operators, which is why we're getting the error message. Try defining them yourself, and that's going to be your homework assignment. Define what it means to do a vector2 minus vector2, or what it means to say if a equals b. You can also use floats instead of ints, which is what you see in Unity Vector 2 or 3. And you can increase the numbers, Vector 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever you want. For Vector 3, it's X, Y, and Z. And the human brain thinks in 3 dimensions, so that's easy to imagine. Here is a 3D vector, P. And in code, it might look something like some sort of a class or a struct, Vector 3. And you have float X, Y, and Z. So try creating your own objects. Also try creating your own customized operators. You might wonder what a vector 4 is. We don't think in 4 dimensions, so it's hard to imagine. But we can do the exact same mathematical equation, X plus X, Y plus Y, Z plus Z, and so on. It's hard to draw a vector 4, but we get the same exact mathematical procedure to express a certain number or a set of numbers. Anyways, for homework, try overloading plus, minus, equals, etc. Also try creating vector 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. If you have any questions, you can reach me on my Discord server. I have all the links below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.